honestly the best music ever. And tonight, it all comes to a close. Bayern Munich versus Paris Saint-Germain. Let's discuss. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Sunday Sitdown, where I sit down on a Sunday and do a little vlog about my life and the world of football and everything in the in-between. To be fair, they're pretty much related because I don't really have a life outside of football. The Football Manager. Anyway, as you can tell from the intro, tonight is the night. The Champions League final between champions of Germany, Bayern Munich, and champions of France, Paris Saint-Germain. Both fantastic teams, both had quite difficult routes to the final, but who will win? In my mind, you've got two very, very attacking teams. A mouth-watering clash is in prospect. Having said that, I do think that Bayern Munich will win. Said that at the start of the season, and I maintain it now. We talked about it briefly on the last Sunday Sit Down, and I said that Bayern would win it, and I go over the same reasons for it. They've got the best player in the world at the moment for me in Robert Lewandowski, at least the player that's most in form in world football. Thomas Muller's not far behind him. They've just got so much attacking talent. I think as a team overall, they're slightly better than Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain obviously have Neymar, they have Angel Di Maria, and more importantly, of course, they have Kylian Mbappe, who is known for turning up on the big occasion. See the World Cup. The World Cup matchups all over the pitch. You've got Kylian Mbappe taking on Joshua Kimmich, or Davies, depending on what wing he plays. Neymar may well be up front, in which case he's against Boateng and Alaba, or they might switch and Kylian Mbappe might go for it. The one thing that PSG really have is that they can completely interweave all the forwards. Like, they free roam around and they can play in any single position, maybe apart from Di Maria being up front, although he could play almost like the Firmino role, drop back and lay balls in behind the defensive line of Boateng and Alaba for Neymar and Mbappe. Boateng's obviously not the quickest in the world, but that doesn't even matter anymore because no one catches up with Kylian Mbappe. He is, I think, clocked as the quickest player in the world, and so therefore not many people are going to catch him up once he gets through. And Neymar can do anything. He can literally do anything with just a piece of magic. It's just he doesn't do it often enough. That's the problem. I just think that Bayern Munich are going to dominate that midfield. You look at Paris Saint-Germain, it'll probably be Paredes, Marquinhos, Herrera, and then you've got, for Bayern Munich, Müller, Goretzka, Thiago. If Bayern Munich get hold of that football and move it around, it's going to be very, very difficult for PSG to keep them out, especially when you've got Gnabry using like the form of his life on the right hand side. This is a guy who couldn't get a game for West Brom a few seasons ago. It's ridiculous what he's done at Bayern Munich. It's incredible. Perisic is a player I always really, really rate. He's very underrated, Perisic. He usually turns up and scores goals at big moments as well. Then you've got Thomas Müller, well known for being just somehow an incredible footballer, but without any of the attributes you would associate with one. But he's just got a relentlessly great record. He scores in World Cups, apart from the last one. He's just a superb footballer, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a goal tonight. And then, of course, you've got Lewandowski. And then you've even got Kimmich and Davies from the two wing-back positions. It's absolutely ridiculous just how much talent this Bayern Munich side has. And I'm going to put my neck out on the line, and I'm going to say 4-1 Bayern. That's not because PSG aren't a good team. I just think that Bayern Munich are at the moment. They are the best team in the world. You know, even though they haven't got the World Champions one to go with it, that belongs to Liverpool. But at the same time, if Bayern and Liverpool were to play again, like tomorrow, I'd imagine Bayern would probably win, and that's hard for me to say. The next point I wanted to step onto in the video today is related to the Champions League final, and if PSG do win it, a broader question is that good for football? Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't a PSG slating session or anything like that. This is literally just a general observation of mine where I think quite a lot of people were happy when Manchester City went out of the Champions League, mainly because it just kind of goes to prove that a team that's kind of come from nowhere has basically funded their way towards the latter stages of a worldwide renowned and arguably the greatest club cup competition in world football. PSG have done the same, but just over maybe a longer period. They nearly always win the French league because there's nearly no competition. The players don't get enough competition there, so they save themselves essentially for the Champions League every year. Every big money signing that they make isn't to help them win the league, because they could do that arguably with half of the first team, half of the upcoming youngsters that they've got coming through, which is no bad thing, but at the same time, that lack of competitiveness means that all their eggs are nearly always in the Champions League basket. And eventually, I feel like the kind of old guard of the teams that have sort of earned their way to doing it, you know, like Bayern Munich, like Liverpool, like Real Madrid, like Barcelona. Don't get me wrong, that Real Madrid and Barcelona have spent shed loads of money, but theirs is built on a worldwide reputation that has been outstanding for decades. And with the greatest of respects to PSG and Manchester City, that ain't the case. Do you know what I mean? It's just not the case. This isn't me having a personal dig at fans of the clubs and like that. I imagine there'll be a lot more PSG and a lot more City fans as we go through, because they're going to be two of the most successful teams within their region over the next few decades. Just the same as we have a whole branch of United fans, you had a whole branch of Liverpool fans in the 80s. It's just the way that it is, and that is absolutely fine. For me personally, I just feel like I really want Bayern to win, because it keeps that romanticism of the fact that money can't buy you everything. And before everyone else goes off and says, oh, Bayern Munich always buy all the best German players and they always spend loads of money. Yes, they do. But again, that is built on a very rich history of winning. The majority of everything that Bayern Munich do is because they've earned it. So I have no qualms with that. It's not like they had a big money investor that came and took them from being a yo-yo club to a global superpower. Chelsea. Obviously, I'm going to be watching the game probably with the family tonight. I may well do a reaction video to it. But let me know what you think is going to happen in the Champions League final down in the comments section below. See who goes with my 4-1. I'm actually going to go even more. I'm going to say 4-1 and Muller to score 2. Throw my neck on the line. Oh yeah. The last point I wanted to talk about was mainly about the transfer window and the kind of lack of market activity, but the potential market activity and how responsible people are being. Hear me out here. We're in the middle of a global pandemic, okay? Everywhere is struggling. Everywhere in the world is struggling. Here in the UK, we're just about getting by. If a second wave hit, though, we'd all be buggered. Same for absolutely everyone in the world. We're all really in the same boat. Football clubs are not really no different, but obviously all the revenue that they've had's kind of been slashed and cut, because it has to be, because they missed out on a load of months of worth of revenue. They're running behind on where they normally would have been in their financial plans, because by now they would have received all the prize money and all the television money that's coming up for next year. At the moment, that's all still up in the air, because we don't really know what's going to happen. Minus the gate receipts, this, that and the other. The seasons are going to go ahead as planned, but obviously maybe about a quarter to half of the revenue that clubs would be expecting is going to be missing. So it's no wonder at the moment that a lot of clubs are being quite quiet, or the signings that they're making are budgeted. The clubs have done very well with this. I'd say Spurs have done well, apart from Joe Hart. But getting Højbjerg for £15 million I think is a really good deal. You've got Liverpool with the new left back Tsimikas, who I think looks very good. The problem is that you've got other clubs, and I don't want to mention them, but it's a bit like City, like Chelsea, and maybe Manchester United if the Sancho thing goes ahead, which is something else entirely. Is that a responsible use of money? I'm not questioning it ethically. It's a business. At the end of the day, you buy assets to grow your business. You make things better. My issue is that it's a completely unfair market, with the exception of Manchester United. Manchester United is an exception to the sort of City and Chelsea rule, because Manchester United are a global brand. They turn over shed loads of revenue. They are a club that is fundamentally built upon success that Alex Ferguson gave them, and therefore that they are a global brand. They will always make pretty decent revenue, and so they kind of are spending within the means for the most part, from what I've seen. Obviously at the moment they've not really spent anything, but they're kind of doing it maybe the right-ish kind of way. And the fact that they're not willing to pay over £100 million to Jadon Sancho, I think, is a very good thing indeed. And it's not often I credit United for anything, so don't record that, even though I just did. And now it's out there for everyone to see. But with City and Chelsea, it's a bit like, because of the owners that they have, they are just able to spend this sort of money, and it doesn't mean anything, because they just seem to don't have to spend within their means because of the way that their financial thing works. And if your club has that, then obviously great. If I was a City or a Chelsea fan, I probably wouldn't be too meh about it. But from an outsider's point of view, and a sort of like objective point of view, it's quite hard to get my head around how that can be right. And with everything that happened with City and the financial fair play, you might as well just kiss that goodbye. It's gone out the window. There's no point in even bothering with that anymore, because all that's been proven is that there's so many loopholes in it. And some would say it's a little bit corrupt. But not me. Well, went my way out of that one nicely. Chelsea, I suppose you can make an argument for the fact that they didn't spend any money last year, so all this has actually been saved up, which you can get with, and City are City, and they just spend. That's just the way that they operate. And that's okay, you know, if that's how it works, then so be it. But I just feel like in this kind of like pandemic thing, I think it's a funny observation, because it's quite difficult for the other clubs that are trying to compete at that level, and even for clubs in the rest of the Premier League, that we're all sort of struggling to find the money to buy anybody, to bring people in, which is why it's been a very quiet transfer window, and I think it will continue to be a very quiet transfer window. Whereas then you've got these guys that don't really seem to have to answer to anybody, because they've got more money than anything. They can literally just go and spend. And it seems like an unfair market. It does feel like, in my mind, maybe the Premier League should have stepped in on this occasion for this summer and just said, guys, with everything going on, maybe we put a cap on it. Maybe, you know, you have to sell to buy, you know, or something like that. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm out of line. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I just think it's an interesting debate. And again, one I'd be interested to hear what you guys think in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Sunday Sit Down. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Of course, if you have, then you know what to do. Drop a like on the video, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think of Scap in the Champions League final. I want predictions. I want goal scorers. I want cards. I want minutes. I want everything. Just let me know, and then we'll see how it pans out. Like I said, 4-1 for me. Muller to score twice. You heard it here first. Until I see you at the start of another new week on the channel tomorrow. Take care of yourselves, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and stay cool. Bye.